Okay, video 3 of 3. This is the final review where we do some collaboration and more than just me in VR. We take a look in Gravity Sketch using the co-creation feature, and we do a little bit of a design review, and then we'll move on to the final modeling from that review and show the final mech. So we're nearly there now. This is video 3 of 3. We can take a look at video 1 and 2, which are over here on the review wall. So video number 1 up there was the cockpit design, where we simply just took our initial sketches and we did a sketch and a block out, and that helped us just refine the shape or define the shape. And it just basically was a video of the initial stages of a creation project in Gravity Sketch. And video 2, as you can see on the green podium here, video 2 was when we started to look at getting the pilot in and starting to use the prefab character, as you can see over there, the male and the female, and we started to define how the cockpit would look with the character in mind. So we looked at the 3 different, if you look over here, we looked at these 3 different poses or positions that the mech falls forward into the gorilla kind of walk, and how the pilot can be protected while he does that. So if we just come back to our current state of the mech, we're not there yet. We haven't quite nailed what we wanted to. So I'll just move the light a little bit. So we've got a cockpit front here that's not shown on this drawing, and the arms aren't correct yet. So we've still got these little arms. So what we did is a design review with Dr. Hatana Eljan, who works with me. And we had a look at where we were at in a design space like this. In fact, it is this exact design space. And we just looked at, we didn't bring the main robot in. What we focused on was where we were at with the design and what we wanted to do next. So the second part of this video is Hatana and I discussing where we wanted to go to get to the final stage. And then the final stage will be when I've done that piece of work and I've finished this cockpit area and designed the front. So this is a longer video. It's video 3, so hopefully you've looked at 1 and 2. If you haven't, just check those in the link above now. So we'll move directly into a quick design review of this mech.
Yeah, could we start at some of the sketches and sort of
the mood board or the sketches?
Yeah, the mood board, please.
Okay, so if I put the podium over here, if you come over to the red podium. So you remember where we when we got the brief, this is the original mood board that we talked about. So we looked at several cockpit designs across several different sectors, really. So we were mainly looking at robots, but we also looked at aircraft. Let me just zoom in. We looked at some, we just looked at a wide range of designs. I'll move the light so I can see a little bit better there. And then we settled on quite a few ideas that we liked. So we discussed a lot of this in the early stages, if you remember. And we settled on the fact that we were going to do a mech, but we really wanted to focus on the ergonomics and the human-centered points of view, which is what your brief initially was. So we're done now. Obviously, the first 2 videos that we prepared are finished, and now we're at the point where we can do the design review with you and take a look at the actual cockpit design. So do you want to go over to wall 2? And I'll show you. I'll move these podiums out of the way now. Should I go through some of this design here?
Yeah, yes, please, yeah.
So you remember the original brief. So if I can show you, I'll just zoom in on here. The original brief was this was the mech design that we settled on with the cockpit in the front. And over on the back wall, on wall 4, I'll maybe show you a little bit more about that. I know you've seen that quite a lot. But the important bit for today is, I'll just move your pointer out of the way over there.
Sorry.
That's right. So of these three designs here, the bit that we're struggling with is this bit about how the robot goes when it's working through its daily duties with the pilot attached as well. It walks like this bipedal, and then it drops down, and then it does this walk where it's on like a gorilla walk, where it's on all fours, but also the arms, the secondary arms that are driven by the pilot, are hanging low. So when he moves across certain kinds of machinery, he has to be able to use these secondary arms. You can see them here in this one. So he has to be able to, sit in the cockpit this way as if he's driving it like a car or an aeroplane. Then he has to be suspended and be able to see this way straight out here. And then there's the final one where he's almost horizontal. So does that make sense from those three images?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
When we get to over here, we'll look at the actual pilots that we've put in. We've put those three positions for you, so we can literally discuss all of those. And then I'll make it clear about what this is in these silhouettes. These are the pipes that we created that allow him to move within the cockpit.
Right.
If that makes sense.
And are these the three main positions? Is there any sort of back positions that you've looked at?
There's a flying position that we wanted to do, but it wasn't relevant for this because it's pretty much all of these three encompass all of the things that he's got to do. If we just move over, could I ask you just to move to wall 4 at the back there?
Yeah.
And I'll take you through. There's pilot 1 and 2 there. You can see. If you just go back to your purple podium there, that gives me a position for you to. I'll explain the concept a little bit. Now I'm just going to make myself a bit larger for this. So you okay there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see this quite close enough. Yeah. If not, I can bring it forward for you.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so this shows the initial idea and the concepts that we came up with before we started the build in video 1, and you can clearly see the bit that's missing is the front face. So we don't have the cockpit cover, and that's not shown in these videos. So there is obviously a cover over the front. It's shown here in the silhouette. Can you see that? Yeah. So there's plenty of room to move around in the front of the cockpit where we've got a lot of panels. And I know you wanted me to show you how we decided on the interface and the panels for him. So what's really interesting about this is the amount of there isn't a lot of space down the sides here. And his position goes from this seated, almost jockey position, to this dropped. This one here, you can see it on this side, this dropped one. So we worked with the model. I don't know I'll show this. I know you know this, but I'll show you. I'll bring another pilot in. Let's just bring a pilot in and show you, or show other people. I'll just make it. That blue will do. So basically what we're working with is this is the mannequin, and we can fully adjust this within Gravity Sketch. So this allows us to really manipulate how the pilot's working and try the different positions, and that we found that really useful while we're working out all of these different positions. And there's obviously a male and female mannequin, and we've got busts and things like that. So that's one of the core things that have allowed us to do what we've done with this. So I'll just delete that because we don't need it. I know you know that. So can I bring you back to the if you come back to the central podium, and we'll start making some notes. I'll keep handing you your stick. There you go. So I'll put my pointer down now, and I'm going to keep with my blue colour. And obviously, if you've got your annotation red colour, you can join in at any point if you want to see any more. So. Can you see pilot number 1, position number 1 that we talked about up here? So the cockpit essentially, I'll just change it back to a sketch tool. So the cockpit sits like this around him. So we've got we had that amount to play with. And again, on a later video, I'll show you how that was finalized and what we had, what the final one was. I'll make it a bit cleaner, just a single line like that. Okay, now the important bit then was if we can in fact I'll do that one, and that one will show you the important bit. Now, what was the main question you want to know about the instruments? Was it?
Yeah, so how are they supported in each movement? So if the mech goes forward,
Yeah.
obviously it changes position. So each one will have a different support mechanism. So I just wanted a bit more detail on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So there's a couple of things then. So if you look at the initial sketch and the initial drawing and the model that we did a central belt. We did a harness assembly, which goes, in fact, I'll just use, that's the volume tool. I'll just go back and I'll use this tool. This is just the, you've got ink and sketch, basically. If you look here, you've got stroke and ink. They're the two that I'm using at the moment. So there's a body harness like that. There's a central body harness, which is a lot bigger than that. So that one supports his abdomen, and when he swings forward, that's supported from here, and that takes all of the abdominal weight there. And there's a body, if you look at his armor on the sketch, this is like a plate here, and that basically supports him fully from the front. So when he's in the third position, he's almost suspended inside this. So all of the abdominal weight, the chest cavity, and the hips are all supported, and that does go a little bit between the groin area there. So we tried to make it, obviously, to make it.
So is this bit here? Does this move up?
This central bit
does this
here.
Change? No, this bit where it supports the chest. Does it change shape? Does something come out?
No, it basically
is. So it's already there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we look at it so if we take that entire assembly there, I'm just going to group that all together. That bit there, that assembly there, we would make that as one piece. He sits within that. Right. These belts secure his shoulders, and then there's the one thing that you were asking earlier on is how do all of because he's moving around and swinging around, how do all the pipe connectors come in? So we kept them all completely loose like this. So if you look up on, which is the best wall, so wall number 2 up here, you can see this assembly at the back here is in the top of the back of the mech. So that whole area there is, it kind of, these pipes are they can flex, which means,
and they hang off this.
Yeah, so they can come down the sides like this, but this is rigid at the top. So that worked really well early on. We didn't have a problem with that at all.
It looks good, yeah.
Yeah, well, we were happy with that, and I think last time you looked at this, you were happy with it. What is difficult is we had to do a pedal assembly here, and what we tried to do with that one, I'll go back to the volume tool again. Let me just delete those things out. In fact, you don't need the cockpit bit, do you now?
No.
So go back to that volume tool. Oops, I've just changed the room fundamentally. I didn't lock the room, so let me do that before we go any further, just to show anyone. So this bit here, I can make the entire room disappear because it's on one layer, and I just forgot to lock that, so that means we're safe now again. So in the volume tool here, we basically had a pedal system here and here, and that was connected at the back and goes up the back, as you will see on the sketches. And that means it can, what basically happens there is, again I will group that, is from there that rolls basically here, and there's toe stops there, so his feet slide down into them, and then on the final position they disappear completely, but he's then strapped here. There's a support that comes here, and his feet go into that, so they're suspended as well. So there's no weight. He's not straining in any way. His legs are supported at the bottom. The body is fully in the harness that we designed. The bit that we haven't got right yet is this bit, the head. So I don't think we know exactly how to support the helmet, because what we found and what some people were saying is that is a lot of strain on the neck from there. So I don't know, we're not at that point yet where we've designed that bit, but we can with some feedback and the next round we can probably have a look at that. Okay. Does that all make sense?
Yes, most of the function here will be done by the hands.
Yeah. So that's a really good point. So the next thing is I'll change the colour slightly. In fact, I'm obviously blue, but I'm going to change this to orange so you can see what I'm doing. The hands aren't really in this position. The hands like this are on panels here. So and those panels can move forward, and it's almost like a keyboard and a joystick, depending on which one we want to operate with, and that works for any of the positions. But the hands aren't like that quite a lot. Let me delete it and show you exactly what I mean. We haven't shown you this bit at all yet. So that's position 1, and he has a heads-up display here, here, and here, and that can roll back. So that can roll forward and roll back on every position.
Oh, great. Okay.
So we were quite happy with that. That worked well in the model, in all of the models. But his arms, let me unlock the layer with the pilots on. So if we take the pilot, the default position is actually this. And what that means is he has to be able to withdraw. So these positions here, there's an internal, let me just get him in the right sort of position there. So go back to the other layer. Here and here is, and there's actually a hole there in the middle. I'm going to have to show you on another one of the drawings. See, you can stay there actually, but I'll use the pointer. See here?
Yeah.
These shoulder assemblies, the arm comes in and out of these. So if he wants to operate these secondary arms, he has to put his arms back in here. So what that means is, if I just draw those arms for you, that would be what we would basically term as the deltoids. That's at the top of the arm and the shoulders. Then we've got the biceps, and then we've got the core of the arm, and then the fingers, etc. So that's on both sides, obviously. But his arm inside there has another joystick controller like this.
Right.
And what he can do is he can switch from that controller. He can pull his arms out quite easily. Excuse me. And he can then come back to this forward position. And we haven't had a problem with that at all. We haven't found any issues with that whatsoever. So
actually he has a lot more space than just here.
Yeah.
I can go outside of that, can't he?
Yeah, well, just...
I mean, with the arms.
Oh, with the arms, yeah. The arms, if we go back to that initial sketch, the initial sketch was... That's the cockpit we're working with. On the main model we've got that, but we've got plenty of room around there. These arms are in an assembly here, so these are like balls within this joint, and these can all oops, I don't want to move him around. I just want to move these around. So this can all rotate around this central deltoid, and that's controlled by his arm internally with the joystick there. So we got all that worked out very, very quickly. So we've got
that's great, because I was going to ask about the
there's like 120 degrees rotation. So we haven't had a problem with that on the main model at all. And you can see it looks, it works well. The problems we've been having are, how do we get him to seat correctly in all of these positions that we were asked to design for. So and let's just go to, if you can just come to wall 6, or at least if you can see wall 6. So if I just change my colour, I'll go to red for this one. So this assembly here, this was the first one we did with the technician in the front, and on the next video we'll talk about how this front canopy here has got a rotation system, and we did have it. If you remember, on the very first pass, we had the canopy opening like that, like it shows here. But that simply didn't work. The amount of weight on these joints, on these hydraulics, was not working at all. So that entire assembly now has been reversed, and that now angles from here.
Right.
So what we built in the final design is that going like that. If that's okay, I don't know whether that's been run by you at all, but it basically means, if you see it on here, that entire assembly there just drops down like this. And again, I will show you.
I do like it better dropping down anyway.
Well, what David said was we wanted to put a ladder assembly here.
Yeah,
because he was
yeah.
his massive concern was, how does the pilot get in and out without having this kind of step assembly? So all we did was we just dropped the front down, and that instantly gave us a ladder. So that worked really well. So we'll give that a great big tick. So I don't think any of these drawings reflect that, but you can look at it on the main. If we jump over and we have a look at the main model, you'll see that. And obviously, that canopy, when we're in these positions, obviously it would never be opened from these positions, because obviously it would just cause problems. So how's that? Does that answer all of today's questions and all of the?
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's looking really good.
I'm really pleased with where we've got. I like what the team did with this assembly here, and we have actually made that now. So we can show you. We've gone beyond the ideation phase, and we're at the point now where we've made 1 or 2 examples of this. So we'll have a look at that and get you into another design review, if that's okay. I'll put my pointer back. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Well, we'll catch up again in a week, if that's okay. And if there's anything else, if you let one of us know, we'll jump in another session with you, and we'll.
Okay, brilliant.
We'll hopefully we'll be able to.
Thank you very much for your time. That's really been informative.
No worries.
I'm looking forward to seeing the update.
Thank you very much, and have a great evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye. So that brings us to the end of the 3 videos now. This is just the last final bit, which I've covered in quite a few other videos, where we just do all the final detailing on everything that Hatana and I agreed. Obviously, a lot of what we've done here is, I wouldn't want to say the word role play, but it's about learning how to do design review and how to make this kind of change in the way we work with design. So you can appreciate we are learning as we go. It's an amazing piece of software. Gravity Sketch is grown incredibly fast, and we're using it in such a number of ways. It's every day we think of something new to try in the software. So if it's something that works for you, then by all means have a go of it and see if it's something that you can use in your everyday life. Whether you're in automotive or industrial design, or like us, media and entertainment, it's a great piece of software to help you design and iterate fast and collaboratively. So if it's about co-creation and about collaboration in an extended reality space, then this is a piece of software that you really must try. Our output is usually the concept art, or for models that then get pushed into a pipeline to be cleaned up and made ready for animation or handed on to clients. And as you can see with this robot here, we moved it into Cinema 4D for the last bit of the session. So, and in the future I'm going to cover a lot of videos on how we take our VR creations and move them into other programs like Maya and Cinema 4D, and hopefully Blender soon, and of course the big one for us, ZBrush. So there's lots of scope of where you can send this kind of model and this kind of design. Not least of all is just do a paint over with it, so it helps you get your blockouts and layouts. So I hope you've enjoyed the series. Please think about giving us a thumbs up, because it does help us to push the content out to other artists who might like what we do. Subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of iPad sculpting, a lot of sculpting overall, and of course a lot of VR creation tools like Gravity Sketch and Adobe Medium. So please help us promote what we do, and thank you for joining on this series of videos.